What's going on, everybody? Eric Bourassa here, and today I want to do a music theory breakdown of Edging by Blink-182. I probably should have included this in my guitar lesson video for Edging, but thinking about it after the fact, I thought it would be fun to sort of break down what's happening in the song and why it works from a theory standpoint. Edging is simply a C5 to an F5 in the verse. C5 to F5, this is really just the 1 chord in the key of C major and the 4 chord in the key of C major. So the verse is just going back and forth between those 2 chords. What this means is C being the root in the key of C major, we build a major chord from that. Really, we're just doing a C5, which is the root and the 5th, but its overall harmony would be the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. And then we go to the F chord. So if you count up from C, C to D to E to F, you include your first one, 1, 2, 3, 4. F is your 4 chord. Now, you can't always just count the letters, but in this case, you can. You want to go in order of whole steps and half steps to build your scale. Down here at the bottom, I've got C, and then we're going to go up. So down here at the bottom, I've got the note C, and then to build our complete major scale, we go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So we walk home when we walk home. That's a good way to think about that. And then C goes up a whole step to D, D goes up a whole step to E, E goes up a half step to F, F is a whole step to G, G is a whole step to A, and A is a whole step to B. B is a half step back to C. Now, in other keys, you'll end up having sharps and flats because of the whole steps and half steps, but the key of C is the one key where you don't have any sharps or any flats. Okay, so you can see that C is number 1, and F is number 4, so we would build major chords off of the 1 and the 4. We're also going to later see the G chord, the G5, those are your 3 major chords in the key of C. C, F, and G, the 1, the 4, and the 5. And now let me show you what that looks like on the guitar. Okay, so the note C is on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then the note F is on the 1st fret of the 6th string, and then G is on the 3rd fret of string 6 as well. I've kind of done like a little half fretboard diagram where you've got the 5th fret. We're going to call this our A string right here. And we got 1, 2, 3, the 3rd fret. There's our root note where our 1 chord starts, C. And then on string 6, there's our E string. There's your 4 chord where the F would be. And then your 5 chord would be at the 3rd fret. So you've got this little triangle kind of shape. And so that's what I visualize when I'm looking for my 1, my 4, and my 5. I look at that little shape right there, and I see the 1, the 4, and the 5. So here's that 1, 4, 5 shape. The 1, the 4, and the 5. But you can also go this way, if this is easier to see, from the 1 chord, instead of going down to the next thicker string and down 2 frets, you can stay on the same fret and just go up to the next string, and then go up 2 frets from that to find your 5. Okay, and this gives you kind of the inverse triangle shape of that. Your 1, your 4, and your 5. So you see 5. Let's talk about what's happening in those octaves. So you've got C, which is the 5th of F. Usually you'll have chord tones, meaning notes in a lead line typically come from the chord it's being played over, whether the artist knows it or not. So over that F5, we have the note C, which is the 5th. And then we are actually going up to the major 7th, E, which creates a really colorful sound over an F. Really cool tension that's created there. And then the last time We go all the way up to 8, which is our root note F, right? So we've got, with the octaves, the 5th up to the major 7th of the chord, and then the very last time going all the way up to the root, and then ending on that major 7th. So it kind of outlines an F major 7 chord, which fits over the 4 chord F in the key of C. Okay, so check this out. When we get to the pre-chorus, we've got 2 different parts happening. You've got Mark playing the notes E, F, C, and B. Now, these outline certain chord harmonies in the key of C, which would be E minor, F major, C major, and technically B diminished, or probably more than likely for them it would be like a G over B. But it kind of doesn't matter that much because the only harmony we have is Tom's C to E, kind of an ostinato, we could call this. So an ostinato in music is a repeating pattern that just plays over and over and over throughout a song. Well, it's only an ostinato really through the pre-chorus, and it translates to the word obstinate. Obstinate. So instead of changing the notes that Tom is playing while Mark's bass line changes harmony, Tom very obstinately, in a very punk rock way, says, I'm going to stay on these same 2 notes, C and E, that whole time. Okay? And on the guitar, that's 5 and 5 on strings 2 and 3, which you can see in my guitar lesson video. You can also put these parts together, and it creates kind of complex harmonies, if you want to think of it. But I like to just think of it very simply that Mark and Tom are doing something that they do very frequently, which is Mark plays a changing bass line with a changing root note, and Tom plays the same 2 or 3 notes underneath each of those root notes, and it just creates a very cool texture. Okay, so Tom's just playing the root and the 3rd of the key over top of this, and Mark, you can kind of see, is outlining the minor 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 1 chord, and then maybe an inverted 5 chord. Not really diminished. It doesn't really have a diminished feel to it when we get there. In the pre-chorus, all we've got is Tom is playing this. Just the C and the E notes, and then Mark is playing E to F to C to B, all notes from the key, and then when you put them together, it creates a cool dynamic between that kind of obstinate ostinato that Tom is playing versus the changing harmony that Mark is playing. Okay, so the chorus is really simple. We know that we're in the key of C, so I just wrote out the Roman numerals for you. We've got a 1 to a 4, and then a 1 to a 4 to a 5, right? So the C to the F, and then C to the F to the G, and that's our chorus. So the chorus again. Right? It's just the 1 to the 4, and then 1 to the 4 and the 5. So C, F, and G. That's it. Mark and Tom use these harmonies in almost every single one of their songs. Sometimes the 6 chord, and most pop music is like this. You're going to have usually the 1, the 4, and the 5, and then maybe the minor 6 chord as well. So it's great to see, even if you're learning a bunch of songs in a bunch of different keys, that at the end of the day, they usually end up being some variation of this. And the sooner you can recognize that pattern and be able to organize it in that way, it makes it easier to remember how to play the songs and also recognize them by ear. Okay, so the bridge of the song is just a minor 6 chord. That's why I write it lowercase. Then a major 4 chord, which is why I write it uppercase. So we write minor chords lowercase, major chords uppercase. So we've got the 6 to the 4 to the 1 to the 3. And in the key of C, if you count up to the 6th note, that's A minor. Even though Tom is playing an A5 power chord, it really is outlining an A minor harmony in the key. To the 4, which is F, to the C, our 1, and then to our 3 chord, which is E minor. And again, he's just playing power chords. He's not actually playing major and minor chords. But that's kind of what it outlines. Oh, no, that's not true. Normally, this would be outlining an E minor chord, but in this case, for edging, Tom and Mark are actually doing something pretty unique. I don't know if this was their idea or if this was the producer's idea, but instead of E minor, they're actually using a borrowed chord They're playing an E7. This is the harmony that's being used here, and I'm not sure if the overall harmony is coming from the vocals or from like a background quiet instrument, but you can definitely hear it's very clearly an E7, even though the guitar, I believe, is only playing an E5 chord. So this E7 does not belong in the key of C, but here's what's cool about it. It's the 5 of 6, okay? So that means it's the 5 chord of A minor. So in music, a 5 chord it's designed to create tension, leading you back to your 1 chord. And that's kind of the foundation of like all Western classical music. And by Western music, I don't mean like country and Western. I mean like Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, so on and so forth. All of that is really rooted in having a 1-5 progression. So we're creating tension. We've got the 5 of A. A, if you count up to its 5th, would be an E. So E7 creates this tension that resolves to A minor. So check this out in the bridge where we've got A minor to F, C, to an E5. But we can make an E7 chord and listen to how that E7 wants to resolve back to the A minor. That's really cool. That's got a really great sound to it. Okay, you guys, so that's the music theory behind Edging by Blink-182. I don't know if anyone is interested in this or not. Let me know in the comments below if you dug this, if you want me to make that as a separate video from the guitar lesson video, or if I should just include it when I do my guitar lessons, or if you don't care at all, because some people just want to, they're like, I just want to learn the song. I don't really care what's going on. I just know for me, I'm kind of a music theory nut, and I ate up music theory when I was in college, and some people thought I was weird, and that's okay. So yeah, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you dig this, and I will see you guys in the next times.